speech because this is the first time that we launch our Silicon Valley Entrepreneurs Club. So next I'm going to invite the VP of Global Market, DHgate China, and also the CEO of DHgate USA, Mr. Ethan Yi, to give us an opening speech. 下面呢，我就请易清啊，敦煌网的这个 CEO 易清先生给我们做一个开场。谢谢易清。
Hi Dan, hi everyone. I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you for having me and let me have an opening speech. 谢谢戴安娜哈，谢谢各位，让我有这么一个特殊的一个荣耀，来今天可以在戴安娜组织的这么一场好的活动里边来做开场白。我今天看到了很多的老朋友哈，像我们英国的凯哥，还有我的学术导师万教授。另外我看到了很多新朋友，包括 Captain Steve Captain Hoff。那今天做一个开场白呢，我想呢还是紧扣一下主题，因为今天的主题呢，像有疫情时代，像有硅谷，有远程管理，还有创新。那在讲之前呢，那我觉得首先做个个人介绍，因为我呢是一个在品牌出海方面的一个老兵，在过去的20年呢，就是我本人只干了一件事儿，叫做品牌的出海，也只会做一件事儿，叫品牌出海。那么比较宝贵的幸运就是呢，我在过去呢20年里边先后代表了中国的跨国企业、美国的、欧洲的、俄罗斯的跨国企业，然后负责全球市场。那这样可能使得在多文化的背景下，让我对这个全球化、对全球市场以及它背后的全球化的趋势以及组织的变革，我会有一些思考。所以我想今天把我的一些思考分享给大家，作为一个开场白，也向戴安娜和向各位致敬我觉得其实我们今天有机会在一起来探讨这个问题，其实最宏阔的背景就是全球化。那我们回顾一下历史呢，在过去的300年里面，我们经过了其实是4轮全球化，分别是最早时候叫商品全球化，也就是买全球卖全球，到后来的资本全球化，就是借资本的力量让全球的通商和往来更加便利。然后我们后来进入到信息全球化，就是用科技和信息的力量让全球融为一个整体。那我觉得到了今天，到疫情之后，我们进入到一个全球化的全新的时代那么我们叫做价值全球化。因为在这个时代，我们的全球化越来越回归到商业的本质。那么商业的本质是什么呢？在我们看来，商业的本质就是价值交换，或者叫做高质量的价值和价值观的交换。所以我们觉得在今天的全球化的背景下，那价值全球化会逐渐的浮出水面。比如说我个人怎么理解 Clubhouse 呢？这么一个神奇的地方，在我看来 Clubhouse 是价值全球化的一个非常棒的产物。因为在这个地方，在语言的背后都是思想，都是价值，都是价值观的交流、碰撞和融合。这是之所以我们有很多人为了 Clubhouse， 我们夜不能寐，我们废寝忘食，我们找到了很多的新朋友，而且有很多新朋友感觉就是只需要3天就能赛过过去的10年，这样的彼此相知和感觉到彼此能相识的程度。那既然说今天的价值观，我们到了价值全球化，那么可能我觉得对投资而言，因为我自己呢在投资，我是完全是一个学生和门外汉，但是呢确实做了20年的公司的管理，作为职业经理人，尤其是这20年一直接触全球市场，使我意识到呢，其实在全球化的演变当中，最先被影响到的就是跨国企业，然后最先做出动作和变革的也是跨国企业，尤其是那些触角很敏锐、视觉很长远和听觉非常灵敏的跨国企业。那么尤其是先天具有我们叫做数字化基因的跨国企业，或者先天具有全球化基因的跨国企业，就像那个学术导师万博士经常说到，他经常告诉我说现在以后讨论企业只有2种，一个叫做 Boy Digital， 一个是 Go Digital， 或者是叫做 Boy Global， 或者叫 Go Global。 那么我另外一位好朋友呢，那个扎利老师也经常说到，可能以前的跨国企业、全球企业需要长年累月来逐渐的形成，而现在在这个价值全球化的时代，可能有些企业从第一天开始就具有全球企业的格局和视野，可能从第一天开始它就具有我们叫做国际创客的基因。那我觉得凡此种种呢，就说明其实在全球化的背景下，很有可能以后最先进的公司是最先能够顺应这个浪潮。那这个浪潮怎么理解呢？我个人认为，可能未来我们的跨国公司或者是哪怕初创企业，它会在组织形式方面会有天翻地覆的变化。因为众所周知，在信息全球化和 和今天，我们已经从过去的工业时代，下面的我们叫集体时代，进入到比较社群时代。我们的很多时候，我们现在的组织，我们的公司文化是非常鲜明的向社群时代演进，它非常鲜明的体现出，比如说虚拟组织的特性、学习型组织的一种特点，以及呢，呈现出创新型组织的特色。那比如说我现在人呢在湾区哈，因为我们现在就是我所效力的公司呢叫敦煌网，它是中国第一家做跨境电商 B2B 的企业，那么已经成立17年了。我们现在在做2次创业，因为我是负责全球市场的，所以我也是在2年前，我也是带着我们的中国团队，我们到了美国落户，因为美国是我们的全球第一大市场。我们落户以后呢，我们完全的本土化。我们现在除了来自中国的像我自己 CEO， 我们还有一个CFO 之外，我们其他的团队全部是来自美国本土，是一个完全的 local diverse team， 而且分布在全美各个州。那而且作为我们敦煌网的全球总部，那我们深刻的感觉到，到了美国和湾区，我发现我周边认识的很多公司，完全叫做什么呢？他们把自己称为叫做全球分布式远程公司，叫 Global Distributed Remote Structure or Remote Company。那我听说好几家公司，一个叫 GitLab， 它现在估值是27亿美元，它是没有办公室的，它的1300名员工是分布在全球65个国家。它刚刚19年刚拿到高盛2.7亿美元的这个融资。还有一家公司叫 Automatic， 现在估值30亿，也是分布在所谓没有总部。另外一家就是我们大家都很熟的那个叫 HubSpot， 它现在是3300名员工，而且在纽交所上市，而它的员工也是完全分布在全球各地，甚至绝大部分都是居家办公，是用社群式的方式来管理。所以到了美国以后呢，我自己住在硅谷，我深刻的感觉到硅谷的精髓就是创新。这个创新不光是技术创新，它也是理念创新，它是价值观的创新，组织形式的创新，公司治理和公司文化的创新。所以呢，受这个影响呢，我们在短短的2年之内，虽然我们背景是一个中国公司，但是我们在美国，在全球，在我们全球这个板块，我们已经把全球的管理已经现在完全过渡到我们叫做分布式的远程管理啊。当然我们还有很多不足哈，那我们会继续努力，我后面也会花一点点时间跟各位分享。那做个开场白，我觉得我也说了挺多。最后总结一句话，就是我认为在未来我们在疫情之后的世界只会更加美好，只不过它可能需要我们用新的方式、新的眼光和新的价值观去发现这个更加美好的时代。很高兴戴安娜有这个机会带我们一起进入到一个更美好的时代。谢谢戴安娜，谢谢各位。
谢谢伊森，谢谢伊森。我觉得你刚说的最后2句我特别喜欢，就是在疫情过后呢，这个更美好的世界一定会到来。所以今天我们聚在一起，然后呢，我们可以在这条路上呢，互相帮助，一起前进。A little bit about Ethan. Steve, you just came, and Ethan is a vice president of global market, DHgate.China, and DHgate China is the first B2B cross-border e-commerce marketplace. And he's also the CEO of DHgate USA. He has 20 years in global experience in global marketing, and visited over 100 countries and worked as a decision makers in many of the world companies in Europe and America and China. He's also the author of The Road of Chinese Brand Entering Global Market. He has a I really like what he said about never afraid of uncertainty and believe in the life is always beautiful. So thank you, Ethan. 那么下面呢，我就想请那个凯哥啊，因为凯哥呢讲完以后呢，我就希望您去休息，因为在英国已经快半夜了，所以我下面就请，我觉得也是我在 Clubhouse 里面认识到的一个真是导师型的人物，凯老师，请分享。
谢谢戴安娜。我先能否问一下，我很荣幸啊，那个戴安娜你邀请我来这次分享，所以说我觉得我再等会儿也没问题。当然了，的确是起来比较难受，因为我是11点就睡了，然后呢我又睡了一会儿，然后硬上闹钟把自己给弄起来了。
太谢谢了。
但是我觉得很开心。我先问一个问题吧，戴安娜，那个我想问一下这个Steve, do you speak Chinese?
No, Steve.
Oh, you speak English only?
Yeah, Steve speak English. So Kai, if you can speak English, will be great. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So I think it's only fair to actually
right.
At least I'll do my best.
Totally agree. Yes.
Yeah, to share English. Well, first of all, it's wonderful to meet Steve, by the way. So, Steve, we just chatted in Gary Young's WeChat. And, yeah, there you go. And suddenly Diana very kindly put all of us together. So I think this is fantastic.
It's a small world.
Indeed. I think everything happened for a good reason. So, Diana, a very good friend of mine, even though we only just met each other for a few days, never met each other in person. But I think it's a voice and it's a passion behind the voice that unite us all together. I'm definitely all for globalization because I think the globalization has given us all wonderful wealth of opportunity and in fact, really for me, it's part of my growth growing up because I was born in Beijing and spent the first 17 years of my life in Beijing. And then one day my father just simply said, "Kai, do you want to come to England?" At the time, even though I'm 17 years old, I haven't finished secondary school in China. In fact, I have another year to go to finish secondary school in China. I was very lucky. I was the champion of biology Olympiad in China. So I was supposed to represent China in international biology Olympiads. As a result, actually, I got unconditional offer to study biology in Beijing University. Now, Beijing University actually is equivalent to Oxford in UK, and I think I'll relate Tsinghua University to Cambridge in UK. No, so I think all the past was set. So my father's suggestion to spend a year in England to learn English just felt like a holiday because I hate the kind of exam type of education. And so there I am. And a year after another, now I just passed my 30th year in UK. And this third year, I didn't just stay in UK. I actually had the opportunity to travel to more than 40 different countries. I think I'm also very happy to be able to form quite a few companies in China, as well as Australia, as well as other countries. So I was able to be an advisor and investor of many more companies as well. So as Diana introduced, the key areas I'm sorry, my mind is a little bit sluggish because it's late and I'm equivalent of just woken up. There are two areas I focus. The first area is education, and the reason why I like education so much is somewhat a result of my early years in education because I just don't like education. I don't like exams. I feel exams just like kills creativity, kills my willingness to learn things that I'm truly interested. But it seems that by law, by the set patterns, by the constraint of the society, I have to spend so much time to repetitively practice exam just to get a little bit more score. And I felt it's a suffering that many of us was forced to actually go through. And I think I just want to do my best to actually make a difference so that the children, our children's children, can hopefully enjoy life better, and in fact can create better, can help our life to actually and our planet to actually improve and to deal with the challenges, some very harsh challenges of the future. So one company that I'm a shareholder of is MEL Science, stands for More Efficient Learning. And Ethan very kindly did the opening speech about globalization. So I think that's actually what we do. MEL Science, by today, we ship our product to more than 60 countries globally. And about 2 months ago, I initiated an activity within the company. So I'm now the founder of a new non-profitable organization, which is, you can see this as a spin-off from MEL Science. that is called the Art of Science. So I want to enable every children, every kid in every country to be able to enjoy 1 hour of science free of charge. This will start from Hong Kong, and this has been more or less approved by Hong Kong government. And the whole thing was designed mostly by me, but assisted by the board, the senior management of MER Science. So in fact, earlier yesterday, I just finished writing the last version of all sorts of documents, including key files of the team. So I'm going to submit it to Hong Kong government later today, and then I will form a committee of outstanding companies who all feel passionate about the importance of science education, and so able to come in to actually support, to actually promote this event. And we're going to do 2 phases this year, and it's going to be very inclusive, picture-driven, video-driven. It's going to be fantastic, and my son loves it. So he's my free guinea pig. And I know his friends love it, so I'm confident that people will love it. So this will be totally opposite to the highly selective and elitism type of biology or chemistry Olympiad that I experienced when I was little. In fact, I love the experience of doing biology Olympiad, but unfortunately, it carries a scary image that you have to beat other people to get noticed. I don't like that. So here we go, 2 things in one. Internationalization, globalization, and hopefully democratizing learning, and to actually motivate creativity, critical thinking, teamwork, and the ability to share, which is what we do here. And so another thing, as Diana mentioned, that I'm passionate about metaverse. So I did what could be the virtual reality version of Clubhouse. And that is called xspaces.io. I think it's far better for people to just play with it. So this platform, the URL is very simple, xspaces.io. It's listed on my bio, so it's already past the demo stage. So we're taking commercial project at the moment. So it will allow all of us to go into the same space, and we can interact and we can share. We can all learn and build something in virtual reality, and this can be recorded. So it's going to be highly disruptive about how we communicate. So already I hosted 2 art events, one in Australia. So that's almost like the digital twin of a real opening of a art exhibition. So all the artists will give a speech in virtual reality as well. I was able to join from UK. Somebody else was able to join from China. Most of the people joined from Australia. And so all these artists just found it incredible. So I'm now going to combine this with NFT. So hopefully that can become online sharing and kind of like showcasing and almost trading, and also trading space. And as well as B2B, I want to make it possible for all of us to have our own little virtual reality living room or garden, to be able to invite people and group of people to actually share and to communicate. So that should hopefully to support, to enable us to be able to communicate more freely, more across the constraint of physical border, and possibly in future language as well. So that is my share, and I hope that adds a bit of excitement for Diana's amazing group. And I think with that, I should retire, and I'd love to remain on stage so that all my followers can come in and visit this wonderful room as well. And I hope that's not too bad. And I know I'm starting because I'm a little bit tired. Anyway, back to you, Diana. I hope
Thank
that
you.
helps. This is Kai. I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Kai. Thank you so much. And thank you for being so kind to me and to all of us. Yeah, please stay here. We'd love to have you. And that was very interesting and inspiring. And we hope to invite you back and join us always. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Kai.
You're most welcome, Diana.
Thank you. So next, we're going to have Eugene. Eugene is going to talk about what's the investment trend at the after pandemic era. Pandemic has changed our life, and we all want to know what's next, what's going to happen. So next, let's welcome Eugene.
Okay, thank you, Diana. I'm pumped up. I think, great, talk by Ethan and Kai. I feel also, kind of, a little bit carried away, look forward for the futures. And the way things happen, after the pandemic. So I'm going to just quickly give everybody, kind of a small window to see what our investment, we are nothing but capturing all the emerging technologies. We are unlike a particular fund. We've been operating for 11 years. Iris mentioned, we are not about consumers. We are not about hard deep tech, technology. We are not about enterprise software companies. We are about everything, actually, as a fund. So
Eugene, sorry to disrupt you, and I think Sandy needs to mute your mic.
Yeah, someone need to mute the mic. Yes. Okay, but now it's good. Okay, thank you. So I think, so give everybody a feel about, as we're on the front line, looking at the companies, get everybody a feel. But before that, we all know today we have this, $1.9 trillion bill already was signed into the law, right? So I think that get another feel for the economy. Of course, as an investor, it is a kind of two-edged sword, right? So all the high tech, our investment is very seed stage, but there's a way to connect to the Wall Street. What we see is this Nasdaq index, all that going up, and then we also heard a lot about the new innovative, disruptive, innovative way to invest in the public market, all that. But when earlier, I think my team member Iris mentioned, three unicorns, but for people, for this word, it's no longer very, very popular because a company is easily $10 billion. So as a joke, we need, as a fund, we need to keep up, right? So Diana mentioned we have 3 unicorn hits. Actually, we are going on our road to hit the 7 of them. But it is a degree of reflecting the high valuation, right? So on the public market, and then it also trickled down to the private market. So, but let me kind of dive into something what we have done, right? So I mentioned as a seed stage fund in the Silicon Valley, we operated for 10, 11 years. So our roots actually is in the hard tech, the deep tech space, right? So let me give like a few examples for the audience to say, hey, what kind of things, are happening, right? Of course, you can read all the press, all that Crunchbase, all that, you get all that information. But from our window, I want to mention one company called MetaWave. MetaWave, it's in the autonomous driving space. It's relatively, it's a latecomer in the, we have nowadays all the specs going public in this space for LiDAR, the companies, we invest in Quantigy, in 2014. But this company called MetaWave, what's unique? What is the technology? So they are doing very, very narrow LiDAR beams. So can reach 200 meters. So very narrow. When the beam is very narrow, then it can held the position very accurately. So I don't want to get into details, but that's kind of the company, very deep tech. And then, the news, they were picked by the Air Force as one of the components to enable the flying cars. Right? So kind of interesting. Flying cars, that's not reality, but it's more future looking. But that's kind of one of the company we made an investment in. Another one is more on a testing space, also deep tech. We all know, or many audience maybe may also know a company called Theranos. The Stanford team, right? So it turned into kind of a lot of people say it's a fraud, but it exaggerates a lot of facts, or there are a lot of documents, even maybe a movie will be made, but a lot of documents, all that stuff. So it was a kind of portable device to test with the claim was one drop, almost one drop of blood, and then tell you have, whatever disease, all that stuff. So that dream clearly is nothing wrong with it, right? I think that as a dream, it's not there yet. Science, everything else is not there. But I think the vision, it's make everybody excited. It's fundamentally it's not wrong. It's just the reality. It's not there yet. So we invest in a company called Probis.dx, Stanford PhD postdoc. They are beyond the blood, but any liquid. They generate for something called a molecule signature. And basically it's has multiple medical applications. The blood testing could be just one of the input as a liquid. So that's kind of the deep tech things happening. A lot of things in biotech, medical space. Also, as a very broad covered company, everybody, I think maybe in the audience, we have people, have a special passion for crypto. Maybe some are believers, some are not. That's totally normal, right? For people, there are a lot of, on both camps, there are a lot of famous people, on both sides that even make it more interesting. So we also have a blockchain kind of a platform technology company called Top Chain, doing quite well. As I looked, Bitcoin is reaching way above $50,000. So that and then with PayPal and Square all enable Bitcoin payment, all that. So clearly it's something I think could tie to our early speaker things mentioned, we say the globalization, or it's the community-based, or I think Ethan mentioned community-based system using digital way to make a governance, right? That's all I think. Partly, I myself is a believer because the smart contract, all that, to manage team credit contribution. We have a system, using data-driven to manage the compensation system. I think for anyone in the audience, managing people, managing bonuses, all that, I think there's a way to make it a lot easier. And then you don't causing confusions. But we did this, kind of smart contract way for managing our partner incentive, right? So we publish internally, what they have done. Once the deal is done, we publish scores, all that, and then nobody can go back to change it, right? So then you will remove the problem of compensation disputes down the road. So a lot of things, I think this type of thing can resolve a lot of problems, human problems. Of course, human problem cannot be resolved or everything by code, but a lot of things can be made easy. think in terms of let's get back to the theme of a pandemic and all that. So I think that's quite interesting. I think we, during the pandemic, let me just quickly talk about during the pandemic theme. So we didn't stop investing. Of course, we monitor last March, a year ago, in this time frame, right? So it's a big shock to everyone. But we choose to do the proactive way. So, a company like a payment company, called Sitcom, very widely using the QR code to do payment. They are pushing to the mainstream in the US. As we all know, in this country, the credit card still dominates. Still today, you don't see many, people using the wallet, using the phone, even Apple and Google are pushing. It's still very small percentage, right? Let alone using QR code to do payments. So, but the pandemic gave this another compelling reason. We don't know the future, but that's kind of another push, the reason. In terms of pandemic, other things, I don't know anybody on the consumer side, right? So on the consumer side, I don't know anybody drink sake, Japanese sake. It's an interesting kind of venture. We ran into this company called Tipsy, TIPPSY, by a Japanese entrepreneur. So a lot of people probably know why, they can tell the wine taste, it's Napa, it's French, Italian, can tell very well, whatever the grape types, all that stuff. But very, very few people can tell the Japanese sake, the type of sake and all that stuff. Most people just drink it at a Japanese restaurant and they don't know really. Very few people know depth, the knowledge in depth. So, this Japanese entrepreneur is very passionate. They are already building. During the pandemic, of course, that's a lucky business they were in and had a huge jump. And then, the e-commerce side. And they have also do the education for people, kind of educate what kind of, the sake, what kind of food, warm, room temperature, cold, warm, all that stuff. So yeah, it's if anybody in the audience have interest, we can provide a discount code in case somebody is interested. But yeah, so far we have a lot of people try it. Most people think it's quite good. But back to pandemic, right? So a lot of things changed. So that's I think my old friend, maybe Steve later on we talk more. Let me speed up. A lot of things will stay, a lot of things will change. But think about the fitness, right? We have the Peloton, unthinkable, but it's really it's the pandemic helped a lot. It's very hard to believe that it would work. Most people didn't invest, but Peloton was. And then we invested in a company called My Yoga Teacher, and they are doing the online, Zoom-based, one-on-one coaching on yoga. And what's unique about that is also they invited the birthplace of the yoga in India. They invited Indian master yoga teachers to teach U.S. students. It's the VIP kit for yoga kind of thing, business model. It's very, very interesting. That's on the pandemic kind of theme side. In terms of another important thing I would say is we see more and more health tech companies, more and more. So with the COVID hits, right? So a lot of approving process has been accelerated, and then it enable a lot of new development there. Once the new company get a grant or that helping on the speed up the whatever related to the COVID-19 cure or that prevention or testing, and they've grown to a certain size, and then they can use the technology deploy to other treatment or testing, cancer, or that. So it's clearly there's a clear speed up in this space. Very exciting from all angles. I want to just use one example is we heard a lot about software eating the world, right? Software is penetrating in so many areas, from the telephone, that, so they're using software, not the traditional hardware. So, one company I can quickly mention is called Previta, is think about chronic disease patient. You need to visit doctor very often because the severe chronic disease problems, and then you need to do all kind of checks. But today, the nurse may be one, but it's a multiple stakeholder, right? You have to do check here, you have to do the surgery over, so it's a multiple party, and then how do you manage this experience? By the time you reach a surgery time, and then the nurse tell you, oh, you're missing one critical piece, like testing you didn't do or something. It's causing a lot of damage, sometimes even lives. So we have this company doing a software to manage the whole experiences. So that's clearly another example of software eating into a lot of verticals, and still are very human, paper-based, right? So let me speed up and just quickly touch on the post-pandemic, right? What are we investing in? That's very interesting. I think, as a fund, we always look for future things. For example, we about 2 months ago, we know the pandemic will be over someday, right? Nobody knows when, but we, as an early investor, we have to make our bets early on. So we invest in the electronic visa company when the traffic was basically none, right? Non-existent. Electronic visa, that's kind of interesting. I want to also maybe, share with the audience and get your feedback if there's a chance. That okay, so for visiting certain countries, you still need to have visa, but the visa experience is this traditional. You go to the embassy, waiting for many days, and then that kind of thing. Why you buying the ticket already online in 5 minutes, but you get a visa the very traditional way, human involved, all that stuff. So if you think about it, so why it cannot be done just like a click on your website, right? So it's just so interesting, right? So we have the company that they spend a lot of time on this, and then enable working with all the countries, the embassies, whatever, the government to make sure this is a streamlined the process. So it's like a future. We as investors, early investor, we say, okay, we believe this is the future, and let's see who can deliver. So that's kind of pandemic thing. Look further out, I think the word is more interesting. Just as we see, like MIT Tech Review published 10 things, 2021. A few of them, like ID tracing already happened in China. It's already, in the US, it's so difficult because of the privacy issue. But in China, I think most people agree it's already a reality. The real contact tracing, right? If you test positive, then the who you contact with, you can be traced back very easily already in China. But here, it's not a reality. That's kind of thing. But energy is a big topic. Energy. So that one of the things mentioned in the MIT is this hydrogen, renewable hydrogen technology. So for this to be more sustainable, it clearly is a need to do fundamental changes. Although a lot of money was burned, and then the return was very bad, maybe 10 years ago. But the second time could be a challenge. Okay, so the hydrogen technology is quite interesting, so that we don't have too much dispute on the oil, all that stuff is causing a lot of problems because of energy consumption on Earth is just, continue to increase dramatically. Further look out, I think the space tech also would be very interesting. Maybe it's more 3 or 5 years in the future. People visiting, who already have the pioneers, the Starlink communication network enable us, and then everything around the space tech would be the new frontier for human race. So it's going to be also very interesting. Okay, let me just stop right here. I really appreciate Diana providing this opportunity. I've known Diana, as she mentioned, over 10 years. Great friend. I had dinner at her place multiple times also. So also very happy meeting all the old friends and new friends. So I will stop right here and hand it back to you, Diana.
Thank you. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you so much. Yeah, if anyone is interested in what Eugene's been talking about, please follow him and get to know more of TSVC. Eugene is a great investor and he's very knowledgeable in this industry. So next, let's coming to our good friend, Steve Hoffman. Steve is going to talk about how to remote manage an innovation team. After Steve finished, and we're going to give the microphone to Ethan to talk about what he did actually with managing the multicultural innovation team. And after that, we're going to open the Q&A, and you can raise up your hand and make comments. So yeah, please stay with us. So next, I'm going to give the microphone to Steve. Steve, welcome. Thank you for waiting.
Thank you for having me. And it was very nice to hear Eugene's investment ideas and what he's working on. And also Kai is doing some amazing stuff. And I cannot agree with him more that we all hate taking tests. And if you can get around that, I'm a big believer in the future of education as experiential education. And I really think that we could do away with the exam system entirely and actually wind up with students learning much more. Because in real life, you seldom take a test, maybe a driving test, but most of the time you're solving problems that don't have discrete answers. So I'm very excited about what he's working on. And today, I'll give you a little background about myself. For those of you who don't know me, I am the captain and chairman of Founderspace, a global startup incubator and accelerator. So we're located here where I am right now in San Francisco. And we also have incubators across China. I know many of you are Chinese, and we have incubators in Hangzhou, near Shenzhen, in Nanjing, in Xi'an, and other cities. So I love going to China. Unfortunately, because of COVID, I have been trapped here in the United States for the past year. But the previous year, in 2019, I spent roughly half my time going in and out of China doing business. So I look forward to resuming that very soon, now that the vaccine is out. And I have some news. You may be familiar with my first book, Make Elephants Fly, was a bestseller in China and around the world. And I have a new book that launched in China and is about to launch in the US. In the US, it's called Surviving a Startup. And in China, it is called Through the Winter. And that is all about how startups survive against all odds and how entrepreneurs can avoid being one of the statistics, one of the 95% of startups that unfortunately don't make it. So today I'm going to talk about a couple things. So first, I'm going to start with remote working and give you some of the tips that I use, because I, in the past year, of course, have had to remotely work all around the world. And these are things that I've seen working. And then I'll talk a little bit, just a little bit, about investment trends, like what's coming. So for remote working, I found keep the schedules flexible. Like don't give people latitude to schedule their own meetings. Like don't expect your employees to actually, don't try to book them up all day. Like let them do it themselves. But what you do need are regular meetings. You need regular communication. So you kind of anchor the day with regular meetings. Keep them short. Put a time limit on them. If you put a time limit on them and you have an agenda set out in advance, then you don't have to spend all day on Zoom, which I know all of us, especially those here out in China, you can still meet in person, but in the US, we've been kind of stuck on Zoom, and it can really suck up your whole day, all your productive time. So you want to keep those meetings 20 minutes, half an hour, have clear agenda points that you need to get through, and pace the meetings. And the next thing you want to do is encourage your team, your innovation teams, to actually go out there and set up spontaneous meetings with one another. So in the same way that you would walk up to somebody's desk and say, hey, how's it going? What are you working on? Or I need to talk about this right now. You allow your employees, you encourage them, like think of it as walking up to somebody's desk and to really quickly set up an online meeting. It can be through tools like Slack, WeChat, Zoom. I know Tencent has their own version of Zoom called Booth, which works really well. Many products out there. The next thing is don't micromanage your employees. And a lot of these rules don't apply just to remote working. They apply to all managing of employees. So a big rule of mine is always have your employees set the goal. Your job as a boss is honestly not to set their goals. Your job is to set the direction. They need to know where they need to go. And you have to go to them and say, what do we need to do to get there? This is where we're going with this project. This is where we're going with this company. I want you to come back to me and tell me the steps we need to get there and what you're going to do to get us there as soon as possible. So have your employees do that. Next thing, especially with remote working, but it's true of everything, get your employees to discuss what's not working. What are the dynamics in your interactions where communication could be improved? And when you discuss the things that aren't working, your job isn't to pin blame. Your job isn't to go, oh, it's, their fault or their fault. That just gets employees to, a negative energy, and it gets people to clam up. Instead, what you want to do is point out the failures of what's not working and then talk positively about how do we all work together to fix it. Like, okay, we all know we're having trouble getting stuff out of this group in the company. They're not turning it around quickly. Now, what can we do, all pitching in together to help them produce what we need right now so that we can all move forward, so that it's not a bottleneck. The next thing you do is analyze success. So which teams are working really well remotely? Which teams are innovating really well? Which teams are being very productive? And what are they doing differently than other teams? What have they learned? Get your employees to share that knowledge between them, because you'd be surprised. And especially when you're remote working, everybody's in their own little bubble. But even in an office where you all go in every day, people still are in bubbles. You need to pop those bubbles and get them talking with each other. Another thing to do, if you really want an innovative workplace, is allow your employees, whether they're in a cubicle in an office or they are in their homes, encourage them to decorate their workspace in fun, creative ways that inspire them, ways that they can express their personality, in ways that allow other employees, when they see them, either it could be on a Zoom call, it could be walking up to their desk, they kind of know who these people are. It really makes a big difference. Another point is ask your employees to share their productivity insights. So all of us have a certain workflow that we're using and things that work really well. Get your employees sharing these ideas between each other to help each other everybody improve their productivity. One of my key points for managers is a rule I have. It's my golden rule. And the rule is ask, don't tell. So when you are a boss, it's very easy to go up to your employees and say, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and I want you to do this, because you know they need to get done. But what I tell all entrepreneurs and anybody who's managing an innovation team is when you go to your employees, hold your tongue, bite your tongue, do not tell them what they're supposed to do. Instead, ask them. Say, you know what our goal is. Tell me what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And then keep asking them questions. Well, especially if you think they're making the wrong decision, instead of shutting them down and saying, no, you're not making the right decision, ask them why they're making the decision. What did they base it on? Get them thinking. You also get them to take ownership. When somebody is telling you what they're going to do, they are kind of making a promise to you. When you are telling them, you are kind of forcing them to do it. And really, great managers get their employees to own their jobs. That is what they do. That is how people become really innovative. It's not like they're a cog in the wheel. They're not working on an assembly line in a factory. You want these people thinking for themselves. And if you go up to your employees and you actually start telling them everything to do, what you're teaching them how to do is not think for themselves. And especially if you yell at them, if they don't do what you told them, then they will literally be afraid to do things on their own, to innovate. So what you want to do is get them to the point where they see it as their job to tell you what they need to do. And as soon as they do that, they own it, and you can just let them go. It makes your job as a manager so much easier. And when you don't like the direction they're heading, what you do is you quiz them. Now, you may learn that your assumption on what they should be doing is actually they're doing it the right way. And even though you've done this before, they've come up with a better solution. Or they could learn that there are other ways to do this that they should be exploring. Another key, especially for remote teams, is to appoint a remote innovation lead. And this is one person in your company who goes out there and starts to experiment with all the new tools. Because as we all know, a lot of us are using Zoom now, we're all using WeChat, we're all using like whatever we use. But every single month, there is new software and new online tools coming out. And you should have somebody in your office experimenting with these, trying to figure out what should we be using next. Are there tools out there that can allow us to be so much more productive, to allow our communication to be so much better? And how would they work, and how would we integrate them into our workflow? So like I just heard today, there's a new startup out there that's going to be competing with Zoom called Gather, G-A-T-H-E-R, and they have a whole new way of working online, which incorporates more of a virtual way of interacting than just video. So I can't wait to try that out. I haven't tried it yet, but it's coming. Another one is, and this is one I like, it's very easy, especially when remotely working, to sit at your desk all day. Or even if you're in an office, sit at your desk all day. This isn't healthy. It's like really bad for our bodies. We weren't built that way. We didn't evolve that way as human beings. So I like to say, when you want to have a discussion, if you don't have to be sitting, don't be sitting, especially when you're doing it one-on-one with somebody. Go take a walk. Go outside, walk. And if it's a remote working, you can be walking, you can be on your phone talking, getting exercise, out in fresh air, talking to people. If you're in person, you go on a walk with them, you and a couple other people, and talk as you walk. It's really good for your psychology, good for coming up with ideas, and great for your body. Lastly, my last piece of advice is when your employees need time with their families, maybe at night, when your employees want to take a vacation, let them unplug. Don't force them to always be checking their WeChat, checking their phone, checking their email, checking everything. It drains people if they never get a break. And if you really want your employees to be innovative and perform at their best, give them that break. So those are my quick rules for managing remote innovation teams. And I'll tell you a few things about what I'm excited about right now, and I'm excited about so much, it's hard to cover it all. But one of the latest things for you, the guys who don't know, and Kai mentioned this in his talk, he's actually working on it. I thought it was really cool. He's working on NFTs. And for those of you who don't know what NFTs are, they are basically digital assets on the blockchain. They could be a video, they could be music, they could be anything that's digital that you put out there, and you can basically allow people to own these on the blockchain. And so you can distribute them. And if you haven't read about it, you should definitely check it out. People are like today, they just sold one piece of digital artwork, believe it or not, digital artwork for $69 million. So that was that headline. And it's going through the roof. Everybody. So really, we're at the beginning of this ecosystem. People are moving beyond cryptocurrency, and now they're moving into actual digital objects. And we're building the infrastructure out there for how to manage, trade, share these, and how to use them in society. And since our society right now is shifting more and more online, right? We know that everything's moving online. Everything is being digitized. For every real world object, there's going to be a digital twin out there eventually. So having that infrastructure and building it, there are a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs. Also, very excited about brain-computer interfaces. There's a lot going on right now, and I've been researching a lot. And in not too long, we are going to see a world where we won't have phones. We won't need phones because we will literally be able to communicate through a brain-computer interface directly to the internet. We will think, trigger actions, and have that fed back into us without the need of touching and tapping on any sort of device. And I know the people working on this, and I've actually worked on this myself with a lot of different entrepreneurs, as well as with some of the largest corporations in the world. And we're just on the cusp. The technology is there. It actually works. It's not consumer ready yet. It's more working in terms of medical devices, but it's only a matter of time. And there are a number of other areas that are super, super exciting. In the DeFi space and fintech, it's exploding right now. Every business in the world is going to be re-engineering itself to work in decentralized ways, in new ways, and in both managing their employees, managing their workflow, managing logistics, everything, commerce. It's all coming, and we are just figuring it out. So a lot of people like to say, did I miss the boat on being an entrepreneur? Are there any new opportunities left? Are the big companies like Alibaba and Tencent and Microsoft and Google taking all the opportunities? The answer is absolutely not, because technology is always moving forward. Big companies are slow, entrepreneurs are fast, and they are going to beat them to the punch and create the value of the future. So thank you so much for having me, and I will hand off the podium to the next person.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. And it's such an honor to have you today. Steve, is this your first speech on Clubhouse?
Yes, it's my very first time. I actually, I am an Android user, believe it or not. So I didn't have an iPhone, and I was like, when is the Android app coming out? When is the Android app coming out? And I kept waiting, and then finally, Diana, because of Diana, she was like, you gotta join. So, and all the buzz around it. So I finally bought an iDevice and just signed up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Steve. I feel so honored, such a great honor that you bought this iPhone for our event, and also you accept my suggestions. I feel so honored, so happy. So for anyone who would like to connect with Steve, and please follow him on Clubhouse, and you can interact with him. He's truly a great entrepreneur advisor and a mentor for us all, for me especially. Thank you, Steve. 谢谢 Steve. Thank you. 接下来呢，我想请我们的那个万教授啊，万教授其实真是我跟伊森都是非常敬佩的一位，他也是一位创业导师，而且在市场营销啊、创业方面有很多独到的见解。那万教授，您听了 Steve 讲的，你给我们做个回应，那么中英文吧，好吧，谢谢。
我先讲个英文，因为那个 Steve 呢，他毕竟是客人，但是然后我回头会用中文快快的回应一下。
太好了。
First of all, Thank you. First of all, Steve, congratulations, you survived. This is really funny. Steve, I really congratulate you for taking the chance and getting a new phone and getting onto Clubhouse. And he was really lost in space. He was in the room by himself, and I was in the hallway, so to speak. I saw him alone, and so I kind of rescued him. And thank God we're connected on WeChat so that I got this link. And I told Steve, this is a new world, this is Clubhouse. You're going to see so many amazing things. You're going to find so many like-minded people, and you're going to actually find a lot of opportunities. Maybe you can work with Diana to fund a lot of new entrepreneurs right here in this space. So I really feel so excited, and I'm so honored to be able to be here today. I just quickly want to say two things. I love this topic, and I also wonder, Steve, you have this cartoon of your self-portrait. Maybe you can put it in blockchain, and maybe it'll be $8 million the auction. So that's one thing. It's really kind of exciting. The second part, I think the topic is so important because in the old time we have 0 to 1, an entrepreneurial, and then that's the go global. So we have replication. But today is really skipping that. Is from idea to global. So it's becoming global entrepreneurs. So I think it's really an exciting time. And also I learned a lot from Clubhouse, including SPAC, and how SPAC can really accelerate this 0 to N, the 0 to global process. So I think that's the second thing that I really think so much about it, especially influencers like even Diane. So there are a lot of experts with influence and with a lot of how they call it, the status of being a celebrity, so to speak. They also are a great target and a great candidate for SPAC. And I think that's another way I think there are a lot of opportunities there. And lastly, the topic is so important because the future of work. A lot of companies start really kind of liquidating some of the real estate and share using 1 or 2 rooms. The BBC research shows that 75% to 60% of people do not want to go back to work. They want to do hybrid, which means they go to work only once a week. So that has a tremendous impact. And I love the topic so much. And Steve, all your advice, because I feel you're a psychologist, because the advice you're giving speaks volumes of the work that I do is how would you really manage a virtual team? How would you make this team feel they are the company, like say Apple? How do they feel the identity that is part of their organization? How do they integrate the self-identity, the individual, and also the company? So I think that's really a big challenge for the next phase. But what I love about what you're saying, the tips, and I want to summarize, and it is really about giving them respect. And I'm coaching 24 female entrepreneurs, and I know how stressed they are. So more than ever, compassion is so important. Second, really give them autonomy. And I really like a lot of the tips you're giving is that it makes them feel that you actually giving them power, even though you are training them, you're coaching them, you're kind of leading them, guiding them, but they feel a sense of ownership. That's just so important. And lastly, ideas. Innovation is the outcome of ideas, and ideas are invisible. So how would you make people make these ideas flow? And the only way is to make them like kids. You really make them feel excited, and also they stay curious. And that's the biggest challenge of organization structure and organization culture. These are central topics of not only my research, but also my coaching to female leaders and entrepreneurs as well. So I just want to say it's a very exciting time. As you said, it's a twilight zone, and the old, the big ones can just collapse overnight, and the new can really come and take over the world. It's an exciting time for entrepreneurs, and I'm very excited to be here today. And Diana, I'll give you back the podium, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Dr. Wan. I think you are going to do a summary in Chinese, right? 对，中文。
谢谢，我得转得快一点。哇，今天是双语测试。
对。
我是觉得今天 Diana， 首先今天是撞进来的啊，因为我要把她领进来。但是 Diana， 我觉得这个题目是非常非常棒的，因为我刚才讲了主要2点，就是传统上我们说0到1，1到 N。 那个 N 的这个过程其实就是复制的过程，所以全球化过去它是花很多时间的。比如说我先要测试好了从1，然后再从1再复制这个国家那个国家，但是现在的确是0到那个 global 就0到 N 的直接的一个对接。那我刚才也讲到说，其实现在呢，尤其有 SPAC 的这种出现，其实这个整个的从 idea 一直就到就是全球化，尤其现在的创业企，尤其现在这种电子企业，就今天 Ethan 说过的叫 Born Digital， 它更加是如此。所以这就是为什么ByteDance、TikTok 可以这么快而且最重要的是，我非常我觉得我应该去硅谷因为 technology 的人他有特点的，就是他必须要 forward looking， 而且 technology 的人无论是在哪个文化，他都对英文的掌握是到位的。所以我一直都在想，为什么全球化ByteDance 做的这么快这么好，就是因为它是一个科技公司，就是因为它是一个 tech 的一些 programmer， 这些人是个 global citizen。所以呢，这是第一点我想说。第二点就是说，在疫后，其实前2天媒体也在采访我，讲到 future of work， 就事实上大部分60%到70%的人是想要 hybrid model， 就是我们不会想每天都去上班，我们可能就想每天就是每个礼拜可能去1次，然后那这样的公司就没有用那么多钱来运营这个 real estate 的这些楼，所以公司也会把这个楼的整个的办公室也能 share 的租出去，可能这种公司原来用1个楼，现在可能用1层或几个房间就能搞定，非常有点像 WeWork 的那种感觉。所以呢，这是第一个。第二个呢，我觉得很重要的一点就是说在疫情后，然后大家呢就不是总去上班，不是总能见到，那么我们的未来就会出现一个，就今天的题目特别到位，就是 virtual work， 就是说 virtual team， 就是说我们不见到，但我们怎么觉得我们是一个公司的，我们怎么形成我们公司的文化，我们怎么觉得我们是有一个共同的身份。那么我觉得这个是对 future work 的是非常大的挑战，对管理者，对这我们的说这种创始人。所以刚才 Steve 给了很多的 tips 非常重要。那这些 tips 它的缘由就是因为几点。第一个就是你真的是要温暖，因为大家都很 stress， 你又见不到人，所以你那种比较硬的狼性的那种比较狠的管理方式一定是不好用的，因为你跟他没有这种物理和身体的过多的这种接触，气场也不在一起。第二点我觉得非常的重要，就是真的是 respect 这件事情，因为我自己也是做 coach， 然后我是感受很深刻，就是你去教什么是没有意义的。所以很多的时候这些员工，我觉得还有你的 team， 你真的是要循循善诱，你就要巧妙的去问问题，让他自己像个孩子一样发掘到他的问题，然后他才会觉得能够去纠正，没有那些抗拒的情绪。第三点非常重要，就是要放权，就是要相信他们。所以这个 ownership 很重要，就是让他觉得你总要设计一种沟通的环节，一种体制，让他觉得说，哇，我这个东西是我的，就是如果没有做好，这是我的 I own it。 所以我觉得这一点讲得非常重要。最后一点就是，其实创新的企业、创新的团队最好的状态就是让他觉得他们是一些玩具工厂的孩子，他充满了这种好奇心，他讲话他讲错了他也不害怕，他也可以去试错，只有这样才能保持一种活力和这种 idea 的流动，然后要创造出很多去沟通的机会。比如说我们在开一个大会，那么事实上你就做很多房间，他们之间就可以聊，我们现在每次都可以聊生活什么，就总是跟他像他说的非常高频的但很短小的这样的一些会议。总之呢，就是我非常喜欢今天的题目，我今天是撞进来的，但是等一下我觉得咱俩有缘分，我今天还真的撞对房间了，我对这些题目是非常深刻的感受，所以非常感谢大家。
没有，万教授啊，我非常想请你，每一次我都希望你参加，因为什么呢？就是在这个 Clubhouse 里面，你是我真的是发现的一个惊喜，而且是一个我特别的尊重和欣赏的一个朋友之一吧。我觉得我真的希望说我们在这个道路上，创业道路上可以一起携手前进，尤其女性创业不容易，我觉得能够遇到你是我的荣幸，非常感谢。而且你刚刚讲的这些每一个都到点上，我觉得现在的管理，我刚听了这个 Steve 讲了以后，我觉得我自己应该检讨，因为我常常在这个我们 Sandy 他们家吃饭的时候，这个打扰他，然后跟他一起开会，下面我要改进一下我自己。对，我觉得这是特别好的建议。说 Steve, thank you so much, and you remind me because I always have my Zoom meeting with Sandy when she's cooking or when she's eating, and I feel like, when I was listening to you, I thought, well, I need to improve myself. I need to change this. Thank you so much for this information reminding. Next, before Ethan start to talk, I would like to introduce someone that I truly respect, and he's the one that inspired me and see the potentials of the future and the vision of what kind of a person I want to be. So next, I want to introduce Mr. Sandy Chao. He just got on this Clubhouse for a while. I believe that it's his first time to be here. He's a investor, entrepreneur, and mentor, and community leader. He wears so many hats, and he's a co-founder of Econ Campus, and he's also the president and founder of Civic Leadership USA. He has a lots of contributions to Silicon Valley and to Chinese American. He's the one that brought our voice to mainstream and encouraged many of the entrepreneurs like me and all the others to find our direction, and first of all, receive the help and help ourselves and become a helper to others. His philosophy deeply inspired me to follow his step and become a better person. So next I'm going to introduce him in Chinese. 今天我看到这个我非常尊敬的就是朱伟仁先生啊，终于加入到 Clubhouse 里面来。那朱先生呢是我非常尊敬的一位创业者，也是一位创业导师，也是一位投资人。他是橡子园的合伙人，他可以说在硅谷最早的创业家和投资人。1977年的时候，他就在硅谷创办了他的半导体公司，然后在80年代的时候，他又到台湾呢，协助创立了太平洋崇光百货。大家都知道崇光百货很有名的。然后呢，之后呢，他又在拉斯维加斯、洛杉矶、休斯顿、San Diego 很多地方他的投资。之后呢，他就跟陈五福、张大化一些硅谷这边非常有名的投资人一起呢，做了这个橡子园。橡子园呢，其实孵化和帮助了许多华人的创业者，他们的公司在纳斯达克呀很多地方上市。同时啊，他也是个产业的布局者。他在这个创业方面的智慧，我可以说影响了很多的人。那从这些呢，其实我觉得还不是最重要，最重要的是什么？就是他自己的这个社会责任感。是朱伟仁先生让我明白呢，什么叫做社会型企业，什么叫做 social entrepreneur。What does that mean to be a social entrepreneur？ 就怎么样去承担这个社会责任，让我们的世界，让我们的社会变得更加美好。朱先生还有个理论，就是受助、自助和助人，就是你先接受帮助，你能够放下自己，有一个谦虚的心，愿意去听这个人家的建议，接受帮助，然后呢又可以帮助自己。最后呢，当你成功的时候呢，你就来帮助别人，这是一个特别好的一个 ecosystem。所以本来我今天呢就是希望周先生来，我还不知道他能来，因为他非常非常忙。但是我看到他出现，我觉得一下子觉得特别温暖，特别的开心。我相信今天也是他在 Clubhouse 的第一次。那等一下我们先请 Ethan 分享完了以后呢，我会请周先生来给我们做一个分享。好，接下来我们就请 Ethan 呢，如果有些朋友刚刚进到 Clubhouse 的话，我请我们的那个运营总监 Sandy 在 reset 呀我们的房间，跟大家来 announce 一下。Sandy。
好的，谢谢大家。因为有一些新的朋友进来，我大概很简短的 reset 一下。那么我们这个活动呢是每周一次，每次周。
声音有一点。
大概是1.5个小时左右。那么我们主要的话题就是投资的趋势分析和企业智慧分享，那么还有品牌出海和一些互动和提问的一些环节。大家可以先 subscribe 我们这个 club， 然后在我们的名字旁边会有个绿色的房子的图标，点击就可以关注成为我们的会员。除了我们每次星期四的活动之外，我们非常欢迎我们所有的会员用我们 club 举行那个跟主题相关的活动。那么在 schedule 房间的时候，可以在 host club 一栏里面选择我们的 club 的名称硅谷创业圈。活动信息会自动的发给 club 的每一位会员。那这次我们就特别感谢 TSVC 和 Founder Space 还有敦煌网跟我们一起合办这次的活动，谢谢大家。
好，谢谢 Sandy， 谢谢。那下面呢，我们就请 Ethan 哈 ，Ethan 他是敦煌网全球的副总裁，也是敦煌网美国的 CEO。他也是在这个就是在全球呢有20多年的品牌出海的经验，也在100多个国家travel 在100多个国家，然后呢也曾经在欧洲、在美国、在中国呢，他作为这个企业的决策者，最高的决策者，他有非常丰富的运营创业的经验。那么接下来呢 ，Ethan 就刚才 Steve Hoffman 给我们讲了，就是 怎么样去就是远程管理一个创新团队。那么 Ethan 呢，就从他的这个敦煌网的这个实操来给我们分享一下敦煌网怎么做的，怎么样管理一个多元文化的团队远程的管理。So next, let's welcome Ethan, and he is VP of Global Market, DHgate China, and the CEO of DHgate USA, have more than 20 years global marketing experience, and visited over 100 countries, worked as a decision maker in Europe, America, and China. He's also the author of The Road of Chinese Branding, Enter Global Market. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ethan.
Hi, thank you, Diana. Thank you for having me here. And thank you, Mr. Hoffman, Captain Hoff, or Steve, for sharing your expertise. I have learned a lot from your sharing, and I'm inspired by your speech. Now I would like to share practices of our global remote team. However, I do apologize in Chinese. And also, thank you, Dr. Wang. You are my teacher. You know what? Steve Jobs told me that stay foolish, stay hungry. Today, you told me that stay like a child. I agree with you because I'm always trying to stay like a child to embrace the innovation and the future. I always believe that future is beautiful. OK, 那各位好，我叫伊森。刚才谢谢大家的邀请我哈，我的确是最近20年做了很多事儿，关于品牌出海，也没有什么特别值得一提的，因为除了这件事儿以外，其他的事儿我一概都不会。所以呢，我把我唯一会一点点的事儿呢，跟各位做一个分享。那最近这几年呢，我很有幸呢，在中国一家非常优秀的企业，我们没有太大知名度，比较低调，因为我们是中国最早的做跨境电商 B2B 的一家交易平台，有17年了。这17年呢，我们公司就干这一件事儿，别的事儿我们也不会，我们就只知道怎么样去连接中国的卖家和全球的这个小 B 的买家。那经过17年的专注呢，我们取得了一点点成绩啊。我们现在正在香港准备上市，在香港做 IPO。那我们也拥有了在全球有200万的卖家和1000万的买家，主要都是那些小 B 啊，就是中小的，比如说小的批发商、贸易商、零售商、分销商、渠道商、线上线下的卖家，诸如此类，还有微商啊，还有这些 dropshipper， 诸如此类的。我们有一点点小小的成绩，但是呢，我们也发现了很多挑战，就是因为现在在全球化的新时代，过去很多传统的模式都很容易过时，过去很多成功的经验很容易成为明天的绊脚石，过去很多我们信奉的一些所谓的法宝，可能在未来会成为束缚自己手脚的枷锁，或者是镣铐。那所以呢，我们以前呢，其实我们很早就是一家全球企业，因为我们的创始人是一位女士啊，叫戴安，我非常的尊重她。她以前就在硅谷，她在20-30年前是在美资企业工作，先后在微软先后在那个思科和微软，她是在在17年前呢，戴安女士呢，她创办了敦煌，她的出发点就是让全球的小买家，尤其是那些采购额在1000到5000美元之间的小买家，让他们更好的做采购和提供服务。那我们回到主题哈，就是为什么我们要去实施远程管理？因为真的是没有办法了。就像刚才那个霍夫曼先生说的一样，他说了很多优点啊。其实我们为什么要做远程管理？其实总结就是我想今天讲3个啊。第一个，我们为什么要做远程管理？第二，我们怎么做远程管理？它的好处是什么？对于品牌出海也好，对于我们的企业治理好处是什么？第三个，它到底激发了我们哪些东西，给我们的未来带来哪些的无限的可能性？为什么要做远程管理呢？我觉得是3个事儿，一个是趋势下我们的眼光，第二呢是疫情下我们被逼的，三是呢我们想改变一下中国品牌出海的方式。先说趋势，现在其实全球平台现在很多公司都在做远程管理。我刚才前面也讲了，举了几个例子，在美国硅谷这边有很多企业，很多跨国企业，它的管理已经完全远程化了。就比如说我最喜欢的那家公司叫 GitLab， 它有1300名员工，分布在全球65个国家，他们没有总部，也没有办公室，所有都是靠远程管理，是用社群式的管理这第一个是趋势。因为我前面在做开场白的时候也讲过，远程管理不是一个简单的管理变革，它 是由于全球化到了新的阶段，全球化的新的阶段叫价值全球化，它会把整个社会从工业化时代的集中时代变成我们叫做全球化价值全球化时代，我们叫做社群时代。那么在社群时代，过去的管理方式是工业时代叫做大工厂式的方式，已经远远不适应时代的发展，它一定是要有一个深刻的变革，而且很可能以后投资人投的不再是公司，很可能以后是个社群，这个一切都有可能。那这是趋势。那第二就是疫情，去年我们之前刚来美国的时候，我们是在美国开了好几个办公室，因为我们在美国有超过100万的买家，美国市场在最近17年以来一直是我们敦煌在全球的第一大市场。所以我当时来美国的时候呢，我们就在美国开了3个办公室，一个是在洛杉矶，一个在旧金山，一个在亚特兰大。但是我们很快就发现，由于疫情的原因，这没有办法管理，连出差都不能出，我们大家上班也不方便，所以我们做出改变，那要不就把办公室取消了吧，要不正好就因为我人在硅谷嘛，那我们就学习一下最先进的方式，做一个变革。所以为什么我觉得刚刚那个Dr. Wan 说，为什么我特别喜欢尊重他说的话，他说要像孩子一样 stay as a child， 我认为就是这样。我觉得现在我们团队就像孩子一样，我们对未来充满了好奇，我们无所畏惧，我们不怕试错，因为我们反正大不了像孩子一样摔一跤，那爬起来再走嘛。我们敦煌内部叫做小步快跑，快速试错，快速迭代，没有什么好害怕的。我从来不害怕失误，但我害怕保守。我从来不害怕失败，但是我害怕固守成规。那所以呢，这是疫情逼的。第3个，我们想改变一下，因为中国品牌出海，说实话不顺利，因为中国的文化是中央集权文化，中国的很多跨国企业在出海不成功，根源在文化上，是因为老板和总部对海外的控制欲太强，就是自己并没有全球化的眼光和能力，却希望像在国内那样对海外机构希望能够实时控制，渐渐管控。那这种方法根本就不利于本地团队去深度的融入到本地的文化。那么当地团队如果都没有决策权，都不能融入当地文化，如果只是想着给老板给国内总部一个好的汇报，写个好的报告，那这样的出海不叫出海，这叫做暂时借了一艘游轮到海外做了一次美其名曰落地的一次长途的商务旅行而已。所以我和我的小伙伴，因为我的团队都是过去来自华为、来自三星、华为，过去来自很多跨国企业，所以我们觉得既然敦煌公司总部这么信任我们想做一次变革，看看大不了摔一跤从头再来。那我们怎么做的呢？好处是什么呢？怎么做的很简单，就是第一个，让大家回家上班，相信不要监控他们，相信他们的自主，他们的自觉性。第二，把整个流程透明化，让他们发现在家还在公司，所有信息是透明的，所有流程是公平的，这样他们就不会觉得有什么区别。第三，叫组织平等化，就是不要把自己当成决策者高高在上发号施令，而是要当作是服务者，是 supporter， 是 service provider， 是帮助自己的团队成员去成长。那具体怎么做的呢？第一，价值观要转变，我们要从我们的管理观念，我们放掉这个叫 control 的模式，因为远程办公你是不可以 control 他们的，不可以控制的，你只能 support。那这个价值观，我觉得这种价值观的转变让我们受益匪浅。那第二个就是我们对公司文化的改变，文化的改变呢，就意味着我们要强调平等化就是不是说我们做 manager 就一定要有发号施令权。那我们只是像刚才那个Steve Hoffman 说的，你是要提供一个方向，一个 direction， 在这个方向下面，大家有一个叫 shared value and shared goal， 然后你要有一个 transparent information flow， 这样的话呢，你才能够让大家真正激发起积极性。那么有了这样的一个公司文化以后呢，这样帮助我们在美国快速多元化。我们刚来的时候，出于文化的惯性，我们主要是招着亚裔的员工，尤其是华裔。但是我们发现，自从实行远程管理之后，变得非常的有吸引力。我们短短的在几个月内，我们从去年开始实习以后，我们就快速的实现了一个100%的 local diverse team。那我们现在团队里面，我们在美国，由于我们打破了地域的界限，所以我们光是美国团队我们就有这个白人裔的，有这个黑，有这个非洲非裔的，有拉丁裔的，还有亚裔呢，我们又分华裔，又有菲律宾裔，还有越南裔。那我们就很快我们就发现，我们在美国，由于我们做了远程管理，实现 实行公司的平等和多元化。很快我们就多元化团队，然后很快我们就尝到了甜头。比如说我们过去，Hispanic 拉丁裔是我们敦煌网很大的一批买家，可是我们过去跟他们总觉得沟通缺点意思。后来我们有很多那个 Hispanic 拉丁裔的人加入我们之后，很快就和我们这个族群的买家建立起了非常好的这种联系，因为是 native language 和他们自己的文化。那很快我们这一块就发现，我们一些少数美国一些拉丁裔的这个采购量节节上升。这是公司文化。第三个呢，它推动了我们组织架构的文化的变革。比如说，我们后来就发现，在实行远程管理之后，我们有了一支非常强大的 HR 团队。因为远程管理的本质是 people and culture。因为我之前在所有场合每次谈到这个，我一定会分享，就是我特别最感激的一个对象，就是我们公司有一个非常年轻的员工，他是我的导师，他是我的 consultant， 他是我的 consultant of people and culture。那么从一开始就是他积极的推动，因为他是美国人，他是美国的本土的华裔，在美国出生，美国长大，然后在一家美国的世界500强公司工作，在那个美国最大的一家制药公司叫 Gene Tech 啊，就是生物制药公司工作。所以他一开始就给我一个信念说，genetic 可以做到，那我们 DHB 的也可以做到，一定要试一试。所以呢，从一开始我们就下了决心。所以我一开始我们的这个 HR 的部门就成为我们远程管理的一个驱动力和火车头。然后后来我们又从美国一家著名的企业叫亚米拜，我们把亚米拜的一个yamibai.com 的一个HR 的一个非常高水准的 HR BP 请过来，专门推动这个事儿。所以我们发现呢，我们从一开始有正确的理念，所以我们一开始就形成了一个这个 HR 的部门就非常领先。相对这样的话，他们带来了很好的，一开始带来的一种非常好的这种文化，就是 inclusive 和这种包容的文化 ，diverse and inclusive 的文化。然后他们还带来了很多管理经验，比如说我们都使用工具，用 Slack， 用各种各样的工具，强调 transparency， 强调平等。那这样我们就现在各位这样所以Ethan今天才有很多时间可以在 Clubhouse 里边向各位来学习和请教，就是因为我们这种去中心化这种远程管理呢，让我从日常的繁琐的管理当中摆脱出来，从而去更多的去广交朋友，去找合作伙伴，去分享价值观，去连接更多的生态合作伙伴。所以我在此我特别表示对我们小伙伴的感谢，就我要谢谢我那位年轻的 consultant of people and culture。那么第三个呢，它给我们带来了什么好处？好处特别大，就是当然了，比如说我们削减成本肯定的，过去3个办公室，现在只有1个办公室了。办公室主要用来是来开 party 的，我们只是谁过生日，我们就回到办公室来开个生日 party， 或者是万圣节呀、圣诞节呀，我们大家去庆贺一下，它成为一个 club， 一个线下的 club。那么好处就是你看省了钱了。第二，这个由于多元化。那第三个，它激发了我们的无限的想象性。我们现在大家玩一个游戏，我们经常玩游戏。现在我们有一个叫做全民 KOL， 就出现了 Clubhouse 以后，我们整个团队大家约定，大家都上网，都去上 Clubhouse， 大家都当 KOL。所以现在各位，我是潜伏在这个亚裔里面和一部分这个美国论坛里面，我们的这个其他 diverse team， 他们分别潜伏在其他的 club 里面，有一些现在在 Hispanic community 里面当网红，有一些通过这个里面认识了无数的这些 influencer。所以我们甚至由于我们上 Clubhouse 以后，我们迅速壮大了一个部门叫 digital marketing and social media。本来我们过去总觉得离美国的 social media 很遥远，可是我们发现，在我们上 Clubhouse， 我们在用远程管理以后，我的小伙伴每天向我每天和我分享，就是他们找到了无数的 KOL， 找到了无数的 influencer， 大家可以合作，找到了无数的合作伙伴来做 digital marketing。现在他们就在和我们的一些 digital marketing 的合作伙伴在开会，商量怎么样更好的做 social media，how to cover TikTok、Instagram、Facebook and even the new social media Discord for young generation of American people。我们现在发现很好玩，我们每天在交流怎么当 influencer。我们最近正在帮我们促成了，我们在加速了我们敦煌全球生态的落地。本来我们计划用3年时间在美国搭建一个全球生态合作伙伴的网络，结果有了 Clubhouse 以后，我们只用了1个月时间就基本的达成了。因为发现这里面认识了很多优秀的人士，有做 digital marketing 的，有做 logistics， 有做这个 advertisement， 什么样的都有。我们一下子觉得 因为美国呢不光是我们的市场，美国是我们敦煌全球本土化的一个海外总部。我们现在的美国公司，我们其实管理的是全球团队，他们现在在墨西哥、在欧洲、在中国的北京、在中国的深圳，还有我们未来还计划，我们计划以这个美国总部会去覆盖整个拉丁美洲。我们现在正在智利洽谈合资公司，我们正在准备落地智利的合资公司。我们未来计划是要以美国总部用远程管理的方式。现在我们远程管理已经覆盖了美国，我们在那个墨西哥有3支团队，正在在 Mexico City， 还有那个瓜达拉哈拉啊，还有那个蒙特雷那些城市，我们的墨西哥很多团队我们都是用的是远程管理。我们发现没有什么问题，就像一个孩子一样，每个小孩只要不怕摔跤，就总能学会健康的行走。每一个父母如果不怕孩子摔跤，你就会发现孩子越来越坚强，越来越独立。所以我很感激我们的中国母公司，我自己特别欣赏的我们的创始人戴安女士，给了我们这样去海外去爬摸滚打的机会。我也非常感谢我的小伙伴们，大家和我一起用愉快的方式 stay like a child 完成这一次愉快的这一次尝试。我也非常感谢戴安娜今天给我们这么好的机会来分享，我也非常感谢所有我们这里的朋友，让我们大家一起来进步。So let's stay foolish, stay hungry, and stay like a child. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, 易森真的易森，每一次我在听你讲话的时候，我都会兴奋起来，我就觉得全身找到了一种全身发热的感觉。我觉得我跟易森也在下面也聊过我们有一个共同理念，就是说我们在 Clubhouse 里面能够找到一些优秀的人，然后呢散发正向影响力，用爱的力量共同影响世界，让明天更美好。我觉得这个是一个我觉得特别美好的一件事情就是我们在 Clubhouse 里面可以找到大家凭着身影找到那些有共同价值观共同理念的人可以同行，这是一个特别美好的事情。我再次谢谢Ethan。 So actually Ethan, I really like what you mentioned about as long as you are not afraid of failure, you will become stronger and better and always stay like a child, stay hungry and stay, even though you be the one that people may call you naive or call you that you don't know anything, but doesn't matter. Empty yourself and always open to learn new things. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you so much for sharing with us. 那接下来呢，我就要请我的这个导师就是我最想成为的人和最想结交的良师益友，他让我看到了未来的种种美好的可能性。Next, I would like to invite Mr. Sandy Chao, the person that inspired me and see the great future of myself and many others, and also the one who taught me how to be an entrepreneur. I'm still learning, but I'm so honored to have him here today. So next, let's welcome Mr. Sandy Chao to say a few words. 朱先生，请说。
Hello. Well, anyway, I'm so happy to join this room, and it's really a wonderful opportunity for me to meet everyone. And then I guess by now, I think probably Steve, you probably hear so much Mandarin that you must be excel in Chinese by now. 所以我现在开始要讲中文跟大家交谈。那我也希望就是说将来有机会的话我多多参加这个硅谷创业圈，那我们在一起呢，我们大家沟通。今天呢就是说这个给大家知道我，那这样的话呢，以后这个大家互相认识多一点。那么我呢跟戴安呢一起合作很久了，那么合作的一开始就跟 Sandy 也是一起工作，所以我非常高兴也非常愉快的跟戴安的跟 Sandy 跟钉钉 TV 大家共同做了很多事情。假如说你看我的 profile， 我本身已经是退休很多年了，那么呢现在 part time 做点 social enterprise。那么呢要大家知道我的这个经验的话呢，我可以很快的跟大家告诉大家一下。那么呢基本上我开始的时候是做一个 food scientist， 是做这个 food processing 的。那么做了几年之后呢，那是在越南。那做几年之后呢，因为这个 难这个变色嘛，所以呢这个就当年就转了不少地方来了美国。那么呢，那之后呢，我就做这个minority business enterprise。那做那个事情的时候呢，就是说就接触到这个 community 的事情。那么也因为是帮忙很多人创业，自己也创业了做 semiconductor 的这个 chips。那么呢，选错了对象，来竞争。那么我们唯一的对象就是要 outperform Intel， 但是呢，就鸡蛋打石头，很辛苦。那么那过几年呢，我公司也卖了，那么呢，也做了一点这个 VC 的工作。那 VC 的那个工作呢，跟了几个 VC， 那么最多合作的是那时候有个 Jim Lally， 那么他呢，又带了一个他从前的这个部下，那么叫 John Doerr。那么呢，我们大家合作了几个公司，投资了。那么那个公司叫 Kleiner Perkins Coffee and Buyer。那么Kleiner 呢，也蛮好的，他投资了这个我好朋友李新培 Leslie 的公司。那么Tom Perkins 呢，我也请他，我在1981年的时候，我 start 了一个就是 venture capital 这个 forum， 我主持了那个 forum， 我就 introduce Tom 就做我的 keynote speaker， 就很高兴跟他一起合作一些事情。那过了一阵子，我觉得这个我就做了房地产了，因为美国房地产比较慢，我就去了台湾5年。那么呢，那么之后呢，我就去了这个 Arizona San Diego， 做了点这个 community master plan community development。那么呢，之后我又去了在我住香港的时候啊，我在大陆就 start 了一些房地产的公司。那么2001年的时候，我回美国呢，就开始投资了 VC 的工作，投资了4-5个公司。那么呢，那段时间呢，一个公司上市了，也是couple billion dollar被人家收购了。那么呢，我那时候 start 的几个公司呢，大部分都是没有上市，但是呢，有一个我花了蛮多时间的，那么大概3/4 billion dollars 被这个 P 买走了。那么2006年的时候，我就是说参加了这个Agon Campus 这个 Fund Number 3， 那么投资了4-5个公司。那么呢，那时候有3个公司是上了市。那么之后呢，这个陆陆续续呢，也有几个公司上市。那么现在呢，碰巧这个从前投资的他们这个 spin off 的子公司今年也有3个公司上市，所以呢这个也蛮幸运的。所以呢在投资里边呢，大概merger acquisition 大概有 30%， 上市的大概 50%， 那么有些这个做不下去的大概有 20%， 所以呢这个还算蛮幸运的。那么呢，这个在我最上一次投资，我自己 initiate 的投资，我去 make evaluation 投资的公司呢，只有这个在12年前我就停止了。所以呢，这个最近呢还是忙的话呢，都是忙那些我的 partner 留下来给我的。好像陈武福他去了台湾，他的 portfolio company 就给我去管了。那么呢，他给我的呢都是比较 challenging。那么呢，这个有个张大化呢，他是我的导师，他过世 之前呢，也有几个公司就分给我做了，所以我差不多12年没有initiate这个自己的投资。那为什么我这样子说呢？就是说在过去的这么短的时间呢，我差不多每4年到6年、7年就换了一个环境来做不同的事情。在这样的一件事情呢，我就特别要跟大家讲的一件事情是什么呢？往往你的经验是你的这个 asset， 但是也是你的 enemy。为什么呢？很多人因为他有成功的经验，他就 assume 这个新的东西，他就用他从前曾经成功的那些经验呢，就 dominate 他对新的东西的学习的一个习惯。所以呢，我是觉得在过去这么多时间的时候啊，其实 unlearn 比 learn 更困难。比方说你打球，你打乒乓也好，这个打篮球打什么球赛也好，把你过去的知识要改啊，非常非常难。但是呢，你去学一个新的运动，你完全不懂的话，你反而容易学。但是你要改你过去的知识的话，是非常难的一件事情。那么呢，我在这个几年前，曾经有一个我参加了一个组团呢，叫 Silicon Valley Taiwan。虽然我不是在台湾长大，但是我对台湾的这个 angel investing 跟辅导他们新人，那么呢，从其中一家也蛮成功的，可能也快上市了。这个完全是是帮助台湾的。那么在那里边，他曾经有一天叫我去演讲的时候呢，我呢对我有一个 portfolio company 非常不满意。虽然他做了很好，后来呢，他这个 valuation 非常高，那也就是他们后来这个公司没有做好，那结果呢，还是7、5千万美金卖掉了。那么呢，本来是可以更高的。那么呢，我跟大家讲的一件事情就是说，我也跟那个 SVT 那个 group 讲一件事情，就是说，当你觉得你已经学会了，你就不去学习。假如说当你觉得你不需要学习的时候啊，就是这个公司然后我对那个事情非常伤心，因为那个 CEO 啊，他以为自己了不起的，他自己以为了不起的时候，他就不虚心学习。那么呢，这个在 VC 这段时间里边也就是一样，你做这个 VC 也是，你每年每一次你都要觉得它是新鲜的，你每一次就觉得自己啊根本不懂。所以在这个里边呢，叫共同在看怎么办，怎么去学习，怎么去用那虚心的去求救，看有谁能够把你教导的更好。因为这个世界天天都在变，状况天天都在变。所以呢，我就是说，我已经差不多12年没做自己的这个选择的时候啊，我是觉得我大概对 VC 这个事情大概也开始不懂了。所以呢，但是呢，有时候我可以跟大家 share 的话呢，就是 share 我这个从前这个选择的错误跟自己的无知。所以呢，在这个我是觉得在这个新的行业，特别是 VC， 你越是以为自己懂的时候啊，就是你这个打火的时候。所以呢，所以我就 very excited 能够参加这个大家的座谈，或许呢，我就可以向大家学习更多的东西。那么当然呢，谢谢给我有这样子的机会，谢谢。
谢谢周先生，谢谢。我知道周先生跟幽静也有些合作，幽静你要不要回应一下？
你是说我是吧？我就强化了哈。
对。
有些很高兴，很高兴的。
好久。
因为有些我现在告诉我，谢谢你啊。 这个你给我有机会能够参与你的这个份，也非常这个我这个我的 partner 也跟你们常常合作，这个就是说 it's a really a privilege to be associated with you. I'm so happy with you.
Thank you， 谢谢。
谢谢那个我还是要那个 Sandy 特别谦虚哈，我就想 echo 一个事情特别重要，我觉得大家在场的观众也是这个事情呢，我也是那个 Sandy 实际上可能很早就有这个 insight 了，就是那个那这个话呢，英文呢实际上就是那个 learn 和那个 unlearn 啊，那个这个词呢更多的是那个 Redalio 那个叫那个 Bridgewater 很大的 hedge fund 他用的，他也写了书啊什么的，所以他这个 unlearn 这个事情哈，就是这个就是特别重要。我今天 Sandy 讲的这么透彻哈，让我的这个认识呢就上了另外上了一层楼，就是我也是在讲，就是比如说这个事情怎么学对吧？你说那个以前的那个像 KP 啊和那个 Cosman 就投新能源呐，大家都失败的很厉害，那以前我们在讨论的时候你看好多 partner 有经验都说，你看过去怎么什么失败的，怎么失败的，但是呢他没有去学现在新的这个公司它有什么特点，现在新的环境下怎么样，就把过去的他懂的knowledge一股脑都拿出来说，这个所以这个我觉得就印证了这个Sandy 说的这个，我特别 appreciate 这个由衷的是这样，就是说这个 unlearn 这个把分寸怎么把握对吧？你学到的是个宝贵的经验，但是你把它这个东西当做一个一成不变的东西，在看新的世界，就也是以同样的危险。所以我们做投资人那个就是说，实际上我也就当做一个 slogan 对吧？就是这个实际上我们每一个 deal 都是在向 entrepreneur 学习。你要认为对比 entrepreneur 懂得多，那你干嘛就是投资人是不太可能的。我特别赞同，我就是 echo 到这儿呀。再次感谢那个 Sandy 啊，我希望以后很快那个pandemic之后再来拜访啊。
谢谢尤金，谢谢尤金，谢谢Sandy Chao朱先生。我觉得真的挺高兴的。Silicon Valley 其实说大也大，说小也小，就是把一些很好的人在这样的平台上可以联系在一起。刚才那个朱先生和尤金都说到一个就是学习啊，刚才伊森也讲到，就是能够像孩子一样，能够把自己倒空了。因为朱先生刚讲到一个，就是你的经验呢，既是你的财富，也是你的障碍。就是因为你过去那些经验，你就会老拿出来，然后对一些事情去加以快速的判断和评论的时候呢，可能这个正好就阻碍了你的发展和进步。所以我觉得今天我们能够把自己真的倒空了，像个孩子一样的去在认知上寻求一些提升，在这里一起来学习，这个过程是真的是非常美好。刚才尤金也说到，你要跟创业者学习哈。那下面呢，我们会开放一点这个时间给大家一些互动。有一个女性创业者，我觉得她也是个 social entrepreneur， 就是 Wendy。那我们也请 Wendy 来分享一下。
好，谢谢导演，也谢谢前面几位老师给我们分享他们宝贵的经验。那我自我介绍一下，我是广东人，在三藩市湾区也住了20多年，差不多20年了，所以平时说的英文不是很好，不是中文说的不好。请大家见谅。那个，我过去15年主要从事的是个人投资和理财方面的事务。那刚才就说大家有提到过，就说那个 pandemic 之后，有什么样的投资机会？那我就想给大家分享一下我现在在参与的一个电影制作项目。那这个电影叫My Favorite Season。中文叫我最喜欢的时尚季。这个剧本的主要人物是一个年轻有才的中国时装设计学生，叫菲菲。那菲菲是出生于中国一个平民家庭，她的父母对她的期望就是嫁一个有钱人家了。那在她大学毕业前，实际上她在大学毕业前的一个时装设计竞赛中得了头奖。这个头奖就是去巴黎在顶级的天才设计师Jean-Pierre Drabon 手下实习的一个机会。那 John P.A. 的他的那个暴虐的性情是众所周知的，所以他就是他是被称为巴黎的邪恶之王，所以大家可以预想到，就是菲菲要付出多少的努力还有汗水才能够脱颖而出了。那这个电影是在法国时装周的这个背景下拍的，这个故事不单单是一个灰姑娘的故事，一个善与恶的故事，一个时装界的光芒背后鲜有人知的艰辛的故事，也是一个新一代的中国女性的故事。尤其是在这个很浓的繁华的气氛下，我认为这个电影会给中西文化交流起一个很正面的影响。我想提一下，就说这个剧本的作者其实是一个美国人，但他是一个中国通，他在中国待了很长时间，会说流利的中文，也会写。那这个就是说我们以这个剧本拍摄的同名的短片，也叫做 My First Season， 已经得到了好几个专业的奖项了。那个包括就是最佳的剧本、最佳导演，还有最佳男主角。然后那 My Favorite Season 是自从2006年那个 Devil Wears Prada 这个电影以后的，可以说是第一个以时装为主的电影。那就是说给大家说的这个就是电影做一个投资的机会，就是其实我们现在都差不多可以说都差不多搞定了，我们已经筹集了2年多了，各方面的几乎都准备好，我们现在就等着明年春天，就是时装周，巴黎的时装周 resume 以后就可以拍摄。那但是一个就是我想在这里跟大家分享，就是我觉得这个电影对我个人来说，我觉得是我蛮有感想的。然后我是想，那我就是现在我们的所有的投资者都不是中国人，那然后我想其实我们之前也有些机会是在中国的，但是 doesn't work out。那所以我想看一下，就说想大家知道有这个机会，我还是蛮希望有中国投资者会参与这个项目。
谢谢温迪。
然后很具体的，大家可以在线下跟我聊。
好，谢谢温迪，谢谢。如果大家谁要对电影感兴趣，对温迪刚刚讲的这个项目感兴趣的话，可以 follow 他一下，然后呢跟他在这个LinkedIn 啊这些平台上可以联系一下。谢谢。我们希望呢，我们今天能够在这个7点半，就是美西时间7点半以前可以结束啊。所以下面我们还有2个 speaker 也给他们来分享一下。下面是 How do you read your name？ 陈先生，来，请说。
好的，非常谢谢戴娜。首先感谢一下凯哥啊，我的 Clubhouse 的第一次发言就是凯哥做 moderator。在这里我今天主要是想跟Stephen 霍斯先生提一个问题，另外交流一下我现在正做的一个事情，就是跟这个后疫情时代这个创业有关。
你要说英文吗？还是怎么样？Okay.
对，我不知道 Stephen 现在还在不在。
Steve still here. He has a question for you. Steve, you're still there? Yeah.
I'm here.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Steve. Hi. Hello. 霍夫曼你好，我们在北京见过面啊。
Yeah.
我在
You go ahead and speak English.
对。谢谢丹娜帮我翻译。
Oh yeah. He said that he met you in Beijing.
Yes.
是郑立煌教授的银创学院的读书会。
He met you at a book club in Beijing. Yes. So 你的问题是什么？ 请说。
我的问题是对霍夫曼先生那个前段时间在他的公众号里发了一篇文章，就是说现在是时候来关注这个用户的数据隐私保护了。对，然后呢，我想问一下，对这个因为我正在做的一个项目呢，是基于那个用户隐私数据保护的一个电子合同签署的一个项目。因为我们知道现在这个疫情以后呢，电子合同的应用成了一个这个为企业复工复产的一个生产力工具。那么现在当前市面上第三方的电子合同服务商呢做的事情，都是说先要把合同内容都要在它的服务器上，这样的情况下呢，就是用户的这个合同数据就是完全等于都曝光在这个第三方服务商手里。那么目前呢他们是一种中心化的存储方式，这样其实就有一个非常大的这个安全风险，就是用户的合同隐私会得到泄露，因为它这个网络上的攻击会非常多，这是一个问题。另外一个呢，从这个商业角度来观察，那个服务商的这个抗外部攻击和防止内部攻击的这个安全成本也相当高。那么我们呢，对，就是基于这个考虑，然后我们做了一个区块链的项目，然后用区块链来当这个第三方，用链码来交换数字签名。这样做呢，就是用户的合同呢是不必要提到这个服务器上的，合同不出客户端，然后呢用链码来交换签名就可以完成数字合同的签署。然后我想问霍夫曼先生的问题就是说，您对这个项目会怎么看？因为目前的国内电子合同的这个赛道呢，已经是有几个大的厂商，而且拿到了昨天法大已经拿到第一轮9亿的投资，就是这个还有没有机会？我想看听听投资人是怎么看的。谢谢。
我尽量帮你翻译啊，然后呢，如果我这边说的不周到的，那万教授可以帮我到时候补充一下哈。这个 Steve he's talking about that the personal digital protection. He has a startup company. They're using the blockchain to protect this digital contract, because when you sign the digital contract, actually it's explore the personal data. So in order to protect this, he actually has a company, it's a blockchain for digital contract signing. He knows that there is quite a few of these companies on the market already. So how do you see this project, and how do you see the future of this? 万教授，你觉得还有什么不要补充的你就补充哈，谢谢。
I think perfect, Diana. I think it's a perfect translation.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Steve.
So I think Steve should get it. Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you. So I think it's going to be competitive. There are a number of players in the space, but the space is evolving very fast. And as it changes, as things progress, there will be new opportunities. So really what you have to ask yourself is, how is my product vastly superior to the other products on the market right now? What can I offer customers that they don't? And if you can't come up with something that would make customers choose you over your competitors, then you need to start innovating. You need to start thinking of new ideas.
他说呢，就是这个行业竞争还是非常激烈的，但是也有新的机会。但是你要先问一下，你自己的产品比别人的产品到底好在哪里？你能提供什么服务是别人不能够提供的？如果这些东西你都想清楚的话，那你就可以采取行动，还是有机会的。
好，非常感谢戴安娜和霍夫曼。
好，谢谢。
那个，这个世界特别小。
Diana.
Yes.
I have, if people want to ask me questions, I usually like to have them condense the question into 1 or 2 sentences.
Okay,
great. Keep it short.
Yes, great.
It's so much easier.
Yes, that's wonderful. I totally agree. 刚才 Steve 建议说，他建议呢，如果有人要提问，不管是给任何人提问啊，让你的问题呢简短，就2、3句话，这样的话有好的问题。哦，对 ，Steve 还提到呢，就是他在我们这个活动前，他说呢，如果今天提问的人里，他会选出3个人，然后呢给他送一个他们的这个 Founder Space 的在线上的一个就是创新教育课程。那这个课程你要去买的话，大概68块一个位置，所以他今天会选3个人， 提问的人送。So Steve, I mentioned about that the gift you give to our audience today, founder space online innovation programs to 3 people who asked the questions, short and clear. Okay. Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Okay, Bernice, it's your turn.
Thanks for having me here, Diana. I appreciate you inviting me up. I'm Bernice. I'm from Singapore. 我的华语讲的不是很好，可是我会尝试。
你讲英文好了，没事。
OK，华语没关系。OK， 我可以试试看。OK， 我的中文名叫舒贤，我来自新加坡。我今天能在这里跟各位前辈和老师们学习，是我的荣幸。那其实，在疫情之前呢，我就来到了一个新的邻里区，然后我有好几位邻居，他们心地非常好，他们就在 WhatsApp 成立了小组，就是鼓励大家一起认识对方。那么这小组就越变越大，我们已经现在有接近360个人。然后我们就从 WhatsApp 就搬到了 Telegram。那么从这个 Telegram 里面，我们有分很多小组，就像是谈到像父母亲可以一组，然后甚至我们有去学那个 CPR AED 的这些课程，我们也是有鼓励邻居们一块去学，因为我们想到说，要是周围有人遇到状况的话，我们不需要等到专人来急救，我们在我们的邻里区，我们有人力来帮忙，所以这些是我们想要有的一个精神。那么我们就在这个疫情当中，我们在新加坡有了这个 lockdown， 所以就有好几个邻居他们都想到说，不如我们一起做团购。那么我就发现到每一个团购的方式都不一样，那我就跟朋友谈说，我非常喜欢我的邻居，不如我们就一起建这个 APP。那么这 APP 可以帮助他们更容易的做团购，然后就可以用科技来帮他们收集这些资料啊、付费等等的。我们最主要的就是希望我们的 APP 除了在做团购以外呢，我们的 focus 其实就是人，就是邻居们。我们想要支持邻里各区团结、和谐共处。我的团队其实就像一个孩子，可以说我们期盼能在各个邻里区和商家合作，就是一块建这个邻里凝聚力的精神。那么即使遇到其他的公司团队，或许他们有些地方跟我们有些相似等等，我们也希望能跟他们谈谈，然后明白有什么地方我们能合作。其实重点就是合作，不是竞争。就是想跟各位导师学习，说有可能导师可以给我们一些意见，帮助我们能更好的推动我们的这项计划。谢谢你们。
好，谢谢 Bernice， 谢谢。那个 Ethan， 你要回应一下吗？还是说幽静你要回应一下吗？好像都没在线哈。那个 Bernice， 谢谢你哈。我觉得你这样的邻里计划的话，它是其实你还没有把它办成一个创业项目嘛，但是我觉得你先可以去从邻里互助啊这些学习计划里面先发展人，因为人多了在一起，大家可以讨论一下以后呢，可能有一个，如果你要是有一个商业计划的话，你可以回来再跟投资人讨论，好吧？谢谢。好，我们最后一位这个我们请来的上来的这个 speaker 啊，就是 Taylor， 那个 Taylor 也是我在 Clubhouse 遇到的一个也非常有见地的一位先生。来 Taylor， it's your turn. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Diana, for this opportunity. Yeah, I saw Steve's announcement there, so I want to, try to make a concise question here for Steve. I know, first of all, I know you and Gary are good friends, and I'm looking forward to you and Gary's talk room here in Clubhouse on this Saturday. Steve, if you're here, I'd love to ask you one last question, if possible.
Yes.
So, a quick intro about myself. We leverage CRM and existing SaaS products to help companies automate their sales and marketing operations. My question really is, what's your take on to see CRMs? We always talk about to leverage our network in order to, I guess the cliches are to increase our net worth, right? So how do you think about for solopreneurs, for companies that, for people that's KOLs, right, influencers, the solopreneurs that don't have a corporation, how should they use a tool that can help them manage their network? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, it sounds like a very interesting product. There are more and more influencers out there as we have more and more platforms and more people are spending time online. So I think it's a market that you could create a tailored product to that has potential. Now, you're asking, I don't know your product. I haven't used your product. So it's hard for me to answer specifically in terms of your product. But what I can do is give you advice. Do you have beta users on your system already?
Oh, we do have a couple. I'd love to invite you as a beta user if you're very interested in it as well.
Okay, great. Because I think, the most important thing you can do as an entrepreneur is to get users on your platform early. Because a lot of times they will discover the value for you. You won't know the true value, how they really want to use it. And you may be spending a lot of time building features and things that they don't really need or will use. So getting them in there, getting their feedback, engaging with them throughout the process, I always say, if you can do it, have your customers as your development partners, meaning at the earliest opportunity, bring them into your product, get them using it, figure out where the pain points are. So people migrate to new products from existing ones when the existing ones aren't really solving pressing issues. And you don't need to provide everything. Like your CRM, there are other CRM platforms out there, but they might have specific things that they are trying to do that are really cumbersome and difficult that none of the other platforms have addressed. And if you can hit those and those problems are big enough, then there's a business there. Then they will, and you will know it because they will be like, oh my God, I have to start using this now. Like, I need your product. And if they aren't telling you that, then you know you haven't hit it yet. And you need to keep figuring it out. And most products, especially at the early stages, they don't offer 20 great features. They usually offer one feature that people absolutely need that they aren't getting. So keep that in mind.
Thank you so much, Steve, for your
Sure.
great advice. And hopefully I'll be one of the 3 chosen. If not, either buy your course regardless. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so nice.
You are so nice. Thank you so much. Yes, Steve do have the new book coming, the Surviving a Startup. That's a very good book. In Chinese, it's called 穿越寒冬. So anyone would like the book, you just search on Amazon. But Steve do want to give a gift for today's audience. That's the Founder Space Online Innovation Program. Steve, tell us, we got four people asked the questions here and shared their idea. Who would you like to choose?
Oh, I don't want to choose. Then
you can give 4 of them if you want.
Let you choose.
Oh, okay. You want me to choose? Okay. So how about this? You guys just send me your email and name and email on my Instagram, and I'll connect with you.
So we can give it to all 4.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I want to.
We don't have to leave somebody out.
That's what I want to hear. Exactly. I want you to speak it out. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. 刚才呢就是4位朋友，我们都可以送给你 Steve Hoffman 他们的这个就是在线的这个学习课程。那很简单，你们就到我的 Instagram， 然后把你的那个 email 还有你的名字发给我，然后呢我会到时候用 email 的方式给你们跟 Steve 这边连接一下。也今天非常谢谢大家啊！今天花了这样两个半小时的时间跟我们在一起，这么长的时间，正好是吃饭时间，所以我在这儿呢，真的向大家表示 衷心的、真诚的感谢，也特别的谢谢 Ethan， 谢谢Dr.万教授、凯哥，还有 Steve Hoffman， 还有 Sandy， 还有 Iris 这些所有的朋友们跟我们一起度过了今天晚上，还有朱伟仁先生，还有这个 Kiss 啊，刚才跟我们在一起。在我们结束之前呢，我们台上的每一个人哈，今天因为是我们的硅谷创业圈 launch， 也是第一次的活动，所以我希望你们用一句话哈，不要两句，给这个硅谷创业圈送上一个祝福和希望，好吗？硅谷创业圈，我们每个人一句话。现在我们从 Ethan 开始。
Okay, so please stay foolish, stay hungry, and stay as a child.
Thank you. Yes, Steve, actually, you know, before we take off, I would like everyone give a sentence, one sentence to today and also Silicon Valley Entrepreneurs Group. So just one sentence. That was Ethan's one sentence. Okay, Sandy, you will be the next one. 中文、英文都行。
You are calling me or?
Yeah, I'm calling you. Yes, of course I'm calling you.
Sorry.
Sandy Wang.
Yeah, I would like to say, stay safe and stay healthy and stay with us.
Okay, thank you. Dr. 万教授。
想起那个很有名的一个教授，我很喜欢，叫赵向阳，是我们这个中国的一个北师大的很有名的教授，说过一句话：有的人不屑于去登香山千次万次，他一开始就瞄准了珠峰，只要一次登顶，这一生就够了。所以希望所有的创业人不灭心中之火，希望之光。谢谢。
谢谢，太好了。凯哥，你睡了没？凯哥在英国可能已经睡了哈。Steve, it's your turn, Steve.
Treat every day as a holiday.
Great. To celebrate. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Wendy.
Sorry. Well, Steve, my daughter would love to hear that.
So what's your one sentence?
And my sentence is be open, be optimistic.
Thank you. Next. 陈先生。好，你要没准备好，就是 Bernice 先说吧。What's your one sentence, Bernice? 你的一句话是什么
？What I really believe in is treating people with love and respect.
Great. With love and respect, treating people. Thank you. Taylor.
Thanks, Diana. So at the bottom of my profile, right? 用中文是不断优舍，断舍离，不断优舍，断舍离。And Steve, for you in English, I think is our agile motto is constant improvement, continuous. Oh, sorry, I'm saying that wrong, right? Continuous improvement and constant adaptation. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you. 好，我们现在到这儿呢就要结束了。最后呢，我用这首歌，然后我唱给大家，会的朋友可以跟我一起唱，因为我现在的心里的感觉就是这首歌词呀，一首很老的歌，但是我觉得呢，很能代表我们现在心情。在这个我唱的时候，大家可以互相 follow 一下啊，不只是在台上的朋友，你也可以 follow 在台下的朋友，所有的朋友，今天跟我们一起度过这个时间的朋友。So next, I'm going to sing a song to end our room today. And before that, I would want you to follow all the speakers on the stage and also all the friends and find the friends that you would like to follow and become friends later. I am flying like the bird across the sky. I am flying, passing high clouds to be near you, to be free. Can you hear me? Can you hear me through the dark night, far away? I am dying, forever crying, to be with you, who can see? Thank you everybody. Thank you for tonight.
Beautiful, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful.
谢谢。好，我们今天晚上就到这儿了。再次感谢所有跟我们一起度过这些时间的朋友们。我们来倒数5、4、3、2、1，我们就 end the room。谢谢大家，再次谢谢。